I go by the name of Lady Pink. I'm an artist. I was a 15-year-old kid, and my very first boyfriend was arrested for graffiti and sent away to live in Puerto Rico. His family shipped him away to, relatives to the old country, basically. So I was grieving that he left writing his name, his graffiti name around the middle school. So it had all to do with that. Lost my first love and fell in love with graffiti, really. Just started it off like that, but then fell in love with the adventure.
Oh, wow.
That's a kind of a broad term. No, I do a variety. I'm very versatile. I do a gazillion different things.
So is there like a signature that you put yourself or your name on it, or?
I sign my name on the bottom corner like a traditional artist, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't call it graffiti.
Yeah.
For one, because I don't do anything illegal. I don't do anything graffiti, and I hardly ever do anything like letters and graffiti style stuff too much. So yeah, there's in my fine art, there's always a lot of meaning.
Okay.
Graffiti has gone above ground and it has gone mainstream, but graffiti is alive and well as vandalism, as a felony, as a crime, misdemeanor, trespassing, all those kinds of things to do actual graffiti, and that has not gone mainstream.
Okay.
Vandalism and street art is still there. You can still be charged with felonies for doing this stuff, so it isn't as acceptable as you would wish. Graffiti has changed its name in the past few years to being called street art, which is easier to stomach and easier to market and sell. When you're saying graffiti, people thinking of tagging and kids acting out and vandalism and lowered property values and all those serious things, and it's not mainstream. It's still vandalism. So
Oh, yeah.
I wear painting clothes. So like clothes that have already got paint on them and will get paint on them again, and so there's a difference in wardrobe that you wear. You have your nice clothes and then you have your painting clothes. So then there's painting sneakers and painting t-shirts and jeans, and you try not to mix that up, but sometimes your nice clothes gets paint on them anyway, and then they become painting clothes too. So, but no, you dress up all nice, and then people pull out paint and markers, and things start to happen before you know it. Your nice clothes is got messed up, or some clothes that you borrowed from your sister get messed up, and that's an even more shame. What is fashion to me? Fashion is an accessory. It's a luxury that only people with money can really afford to be fashionable. What school are you guys in?
Oh, we go to Parsons.
And so okay.
Oh, we're both fashion design majors.
Okay. So graffiti writers and artists traditionally we don't pay too much mind to fashion. But because I'm in the public eye and I have to make appearances at fancy places and such, I've had to learn to dress up. So it's uncomfortable for women. I don't like it. I wish to be more in my natural form, which is jeans and sneakers and such, but that I have to dress up and put on high heels is horrible. Horrible. It is painful. A lot of the women's clothes, it's just not comfortable. I'm sorry, it's too tight. You can't move around, but then it's made for that, and that is unfortunate. So it's very difficult to find clothes that have the kind of movement that sports clothes have, or like casual gear. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't like especially high heels and shoes, but I do wear them. I have because I have to, and there are a lot of clothes you just can't pull off unless you put on high heels. You're not taken seriously as an adult unless you're dressed up in high heels and dressed up to the max. And, sure, you get to a certain point in your status that you can just dress up like a slob and not care. But the truth of the matter is that people do judge you. And by the way that you're dressed and how you hold yourself and such. So I do believe the fashion is very important in today's society because other people do judge you and accept you and take you seriously or not, depending on fashion.
Okay.
For graffiti writers, I found that hasn't been designed too much is a belt that you can put a bunch of different cans on it. Because when you're up a scaffold and when you're up a ladder, and you can only take a couple of cans in your one hand, climb the ladder, and then paint with the other hand. And where do you put the rest of your stuff? Maybe you can take a bucket with you, but so I found in the white trash section, the redneck section, beer holder, a belt for you can put sodas or beer in it. And it comes in camouflage and it comes in tie-dye, and I got one of each, one for me, one for my husband. And you can put spray paint in it, like just like I said. You can put like I think 8 of them or 10 across your belly and then climb up to where you have to paint and you have all your colors with you. Because sometimes you just need like 8 or 10 colors up there, and then it's a matter of up and down, up and down. You can only take so much with you, and so I think something like that for graffiti writers and street artists, like a tool belt. So I've seen smaller versions of that in the Home Depot, the tool for tools for guys that you can put something large, something small. You can hang a hammer. You can put a this and that. Those kind of belts.
Yeah.
Like that, but specifically something stylish for artists and for graffiti artists, basically, so you can fit your spray cans. The ones for sodas, I found the fabric itself was just not tall enough. It was good for soda, but spray cans are a bit taller. So it needed just a tiny bit more fabric, and I think I was going to add some myself because I do sew, just like a little strip along the top, just to make it, a little more support for the spray paint. But, I'm going to use it. And the best thing about it, so when you're wearing it, you shake your hips around and you shake up your spray paint at the same time. You keep the paint all stirred up and stuff, so you're rattling. Instead of having to shake it by hand, you just wiggle your hips a little bit and rattle, rattle, rattle.
I get one now.
Yeah.
It's all shook up and ready to go because, you have to shake each time you use it and stuff. So keep it going with some lively music and keep the paint all shook up. So I can't wait to use it. Graffiti writers have their own slang and vocabulary. There's a whole range of words that were kind of like a code words that we made up ourselves so that people wouldn't understand what we were talking about. So when we talk about bombing, we're not talking about taking down the Twin Towers or anything. We're talking about going out painting together. Let's go bombing. No, we're not Al-Qaeda. We're talking about, and then the internet keys in on these kinds of words that are being said, and it's like, no. We're just graffiti writers. We do bombing because that's what dropping a bomb means. You're like, all your tags are everywhere, like a bomb exploded, and your tags are everywhere. So it's called bombing. That's one word in particular, but there's many. And we have lots and lots of words for our slang. It could be hip-hop slang, it could be graffiti slang. There's a lot of different words for the stuff that we do. And then a lot of it is dated, too. It's from a certain period. The slangs change over the years. You guys are saying different things than what we said and such. But, yeah, there's always a lot of slang, especially with what we do. And I married a graffiti writer, which is great because then I can use all the slang that I want. And he understands what I'm talking about. And when we talk about colors, we talk about in spray paint colors. When I say school bus yellow, he knows exactly what I mean. When I say, hot pink, he knows what shade that is, or, icy gray, whatever you say, he knows exactly what that is because we speak in spray paint colors. We speak in our own individual specific slang that has been documented in books. It's a whole glossary in the back of all the words that we say and what they actually mean. My sister used to translate for me. When I'd speak, she would translate it to normal English, the crap I said. Oh my God, I was so full of it. It took years to get rid of my slang. A nice jumpsuit with like pockets with tools and stuff. So that's nice and loose and you can bend and move. And, I used to have a pink jumpsuit. I think it got completely destroyed. It was all, pink fabric, nice and light and loose. Short sleeved for the summer or like, sleeveless completely because you get super hot out there. So I think a jumpsuit with like a variety of pockets so that you can keep spray paint, a brush, your phone, your music player. You can keep all your stuff with you, you know. I used to have to carry a little fanny pack on me so that I can keep my music player, my, you know, my stuff, and just close to me while I was out there painting and moving in action. But I think a nice jumpsuit, some kind of a jumpsuit that on the back says, "Do not disturb the artist."
I respect that.
Not talk to the artist while the artist is working, or, you know, something is like, "Go away." People just get a little too, artist can't hear you wearing a headset. Don't talk to the artist. Just, you know, anything.
That's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Something on the back that makes people aware that you are working, and you know, you shouldn't be talking nonsense if you don't have anything important to say, really. Some people just want to converse. "Oh, you know, my grandfather was an artist," and blah, 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 going on about nonsense, and I'm in the middle of work. Would I come to your job and just start talking to you when you're in the middle of work and make you stop and make you listen to my family stories and nonsense? And really? You know, so working in public has got a little bit, it's difficult, you know. I use a yellow tape around where the area that I work, so people can't walk right up on top of me and start breathing up my shoulder and stuff. So I have to be a little bit of space. So if they see that you're wearing a professional kind of jumpsuit that says, you know, person at work or serious artist, or just the word artist on the back, that, you know, this is the artist working. How about that? Artist working. I'll give you a hint that, you know, I'm doing some serious shit. Don't talk to me unless you must. You know, if you need to ask for a business card and you have a job for me, please go ahead, talk to me. If you just want to tell me about your grandpa, no. Or in New York City, every other person was a graffiti writer. Everyone needs to stop you and say, "Yes, I wrote graffiti for about 5 minutes when I was like 20 years old," and la la la. I'm not interested. Don't want to hear it. So, when people see me and my husband painting, they find that I'm the more approachable one. So they leave him alone. He's a serious white guy, and they come over and they bother me. No, it isn't, because some people want to be involved when something is being custom made. Yeah, you know, let me work with you, pick out the color, the fabric. You know, I want to just sew, take some measurements and whatever. No, I, on the other hand, will say, you know, you go on, do what you want. Have fun. I gave you some specs, you know, loose, fitting, appropriate for the outdoors in warm weather. Lots of pockets for various tools. You know, there could be a variety of different jumpsuits for whatever you're into, you know, brushwork or spray paint, or if you're a stickers dude. What's really cool in Europe, they sell packages of spray paint together, depending on what it is that you're going to go out to achieve that night. You need a lot of blacks and silvers because you're going to do a lot of throw-ups, and then in garbage, you're going to go out and paint in cold weather. You get special cold weather paint. You know, for whatever vandalism that you need to do, they'll sell a package of appropriate stuff for you. So clothing like that would be great too. You know, sometimes these cats need to go out and do vandalism in the freezing cold because the police won't be out there in such cold. Only idiots who want to do graffiti want to be out there in knee-deep snow. So, you know, long johns and warm weather gear and double flannel pants and pants with like fleece lining and jackets with a lot of interior pockets, because you got to keep the spray paint warm close to your body. So that you can take it out and use it. If you leave it out sitting in your bag in a pile of snow, it's going to start to freeze up and malfunction. So you have to keep it close to your body, keep the body warm, take out the colors that you need and stuff. So I used to have, when I was a vandal as a teenager, I made a special winter coat with interior pockets. So, you know, not only for keeping my paint warm when I wore, but also for lifting paint in stores, shoplifting. So I had big interior pockets. I could walk in a store and walk out with like 14 cans on my body and you wouldn't even know it.
Oh, wow.
So that was a really nice winter coat with inside sleeves, 2 cans in each arm. But that's when, as a teenager, we had to steal our spray paint because it was the thing to do, not because we couldn't afford it.
Okay.
You know, so that's just part of the street credibility thing. You have to be good at lifting. So I made the interior pockets for my coat, but there's all kinds of working gear. But I would say I would leave it to your judgment. Surprise me. It'll be cool. See, no, see, that's a valid question. Some people want to be hands-on, and some people just like, yeah, go ahead. I trust your judgment. Go ahead. You know, I went down to speak at an exhibit at the Phoenix Art Museum, and they did an exhibit on fashion, graffiti and fashion. And I was super surprised at how many top designers had incorporated graffiti style, graffiti flavor, actual graffiti on their clothing. All these big names, and they had all this clothing in this museum. It was just mind-boggling. I had no idea that graffiti had such an influence and impact on fashion. Um, I would say on fellow other graffiti writers that I know of, they just need to keep up to, they need to keep stylish. Like I said, we come to go to public events and stuff. You need to be stylish, but it's the myth that they say that graffiti writers are all hip hop. So, we're not interested in that kind of style, that crazy, outrageous hip hop gear and stuff like that. No, not really. And each artist is an individual. We certainly don't dress like as a group in any way. We've got the hippie guys, we've got the slobs, we've got the cool black dudes that dress all hip, and everybody's got their own gear. So there's absolutely no way to categorize as a specific group. As graffiti writers and vandals, we'd all dress like slobs, paint from head to toe, and messy, and t-shirts, sweatshirts, sneakers, jeans, and paint on everything, and complete like slobs. And I would dress like a little boy too, because the boy clothes were just certainly much more comfortable back then. So I think that people don't differentiate, graffiti from street art, from legal murals. Everything is being called street art. When you see a wall in the street, it's street art. And street art really means vandalism, just like graffiti does. They just use different mediums. They use stickers, posters, stencils, wood, knitting. They use whatever other mediums, but still doing vandalism, and they can be arrested just like a graffiti writer and sent to jail just like a graffiti writer. So we're kindred spirits that way, and that we can be charged with vandalism. Yes, but the stuff that you see in the street is all public murals. And we've had history of public murals for centuries. It's authorized, it's with permission, and it's painted. It's not vandalism. It's not done at night against the law. So there's a difference in that. And I have many murals on my website, and all of them are legal murals. They're not street art, and I'm being called a street artist. And, I haven't done anything illegal in like 30 years. I mean, really, I don't want to be continued being considered a graffiti writer or a street artist. I'm just an artist. You see, I introduced myself. I'm just an artist. I don't specifically, work in that style of graffiti. If you've seen my website, I do a variety of different styles. I do, everything, besides graffiti. I can do all sorts of everything. So that, I think it's just kind of, misunderstood. We're being called street artists. And, they think that the murals that I paint are against the law. And it's amazing. How much time did you spend there and they didn't catch you doing that? The police never rode up and arrested you? You were there for days. That's because it's with permission. It's not street art. It's public art. And most of it is paid. It's funded. It's paid. It's a legal job. That's what I do. I run a mural company with my husband. We paint a lot of high-end businesses, interiors, exteriors. And just because it's on the exterior doesn't make it street art. So I think that people have to understand that too. And I just consider myself an artist. I leave it to the historians and the academics and such to put us in those sort of places, whether we are a subculture, whether I belong to that. At one point I did, the graffiti writers, we were a subculture, and I did belong to that, but I feel I'm not really part of that anymore. because I don't really do that, and I don't even know anybody who does graffiti against the law, like young ones who are active. I don't even know those people, so I don't consider myself part of that group or any of that. So that's a toughie. I I would leave it to the historians to categorize us and label us. I resist being labeled a graffiti artist, urban artist, street artist, or any of that. But people feel that they need to label you in order to describe you and explain you and your work to others, so that they have to throw some kind of a name there. What are you, an impressionist? Are you like a surrealist? Are you? But we are labeled contemporary art. We fall under contemporary art, and that's what we do. So, and everyone's got their own flavor like that. And it's only graffiti if you get caught. That's the way I feel.